Yo, what up, guys? House here. We gotta talk about some things, okay? We gotta talk about it, just like everybody else has to talk about it. All right, Admiral Akbar. We got so many options for Omicrons right now, and I say so many, but we only have like what, 7 options for Arena? Where's my little thing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I was close. I was so close, almost off the top of my head. We got all these options, and I want to talk to you why I think he's not a bad Omicron. And like, if you want to bank your Omicrons, it's fine. So I've got this little list of characters that I would want to Omicron personally, right? Dash, Zam, Qui-Gon, Akbar, and Iden. And we're gonna break down kind of why these characters comparatively to Akbar are better or worse depending on how your roster's at, right? Let's see how quickly I can do it as well. So Dash Rendar we're gonna start bottom to top because the top 3 teams are more or less what I'm gonna be talking about for the most part. Dash turns an entire worthless team into gold. Easiest Omicron to apply if you already have the prepared squad. I wouldn't even think twice about it. I would slam that on there immediately. Making this team better, playable, some would say. That's good. That's real good. Right, moving on to bounty hunters. Zam Wessel's slideable in every bounty hunter comp under the sun. Whether it's her lead, Bosk lead, or I can't remember what her name is, but the Aura Singh lead. Right? It doesn't matter who's leading, Zam Wessel's gonna make them a force to be reckoned with, just in general. A huge problem getting all the extra stats, speed, and all that garbage, right? But I wouldn't say she makes them a team on her own, right? Unless you literally only have these 5. I think Bosk already has his team lined up for him. Aura Singh already has her team lined up for her. She's just going to make it so that those teams can fight even greater teams further up. It moves them like up a tier from being B tier to A tier. That's what hers does, right? Qui-Gon, same as Dash Rendar, but what makes him special comparatively to Dash Rendar is it's Jedi. Like, one of the biggest factions to exist, right? There's a ton of trash that sits inside of Jedi that we can sift through and give to Qui-Gon, right? A ton of leftover toys, things that you have geared because they're in ships like Plo Koon, Ayla Secura because you needed her for frickin' Kenobi, Barriss Offee because you were a part of the Barriss meta when her Zeta got dropped, and I am so sorry for you. What a world to live in. He takes all of these old broken toys that you don't want to play with anymore, makes them work. A fantastic Omicron. We've already seen it work. We've even seen it work post nerf. It's still good. It's still a fantastic way to spend an Omicron if you have one, right? Moving over, we're gonna skip Akbar and talk about Iden Versio, an Omicron similar to what's her name, Zam Wessel, right? Iden Versio being in the leadership makes all these characters work without her Omicron. Takes all these thrown away toys and makes them amazing without her Omicron. Her Omicron just makes it once again so she can punch a little higher. Maybe moving her from what could be a B tier or an A tier team, depending on how you look at it, to kind of half a tier upwards, because she can now slay specific teams on offense, right? Being able to kill Mon Mothma is basically guaranteed. Having a really good batting average versus CLS, that's Iden Versio with an Omicron. So if that's what you're looking for, she's going to do it fantastically, right? Now we're going to come back down to this Admiral Akbar guy. Comparatively, his Omicron is like Qui-Gon's, where we have Rebels, the other huge faction in this game, right? A ton of leftover garbage. If you're like me, you got Chirrut Bays, so you can easily do that, right? Leftover Phoenix. Everyone has Stormtrooper Han because CLS is what God intended you to farm, right? Ahsoka's a special case. She's cool, so I farmed her, and that's why I have her, right? And Akbar is given to you for free. He's a shipmaster. Okay, you get him no matter what. So what I want to talk about with Akbar comparatively to these other ones is, one, he's a little unproven, right? Similar to how Qui-Gon Jinn worked. We were a little hesitant to put the Omicrons on him, but Qui-Gon's looks so much more devastating than Akbar's does on paper. It's so much more. It inspires more confidence, for sure. Same with Iden Versios. Inspires a ton of confidence. Zam and Dash Rendar inspire a ton of confidence on paper. But Akbar is like it's like a big if, right? Let's run it down. I'll break it down with you real quick. I say real quick. It's gonna take a second, but you know how these things are. All right, sit up in your chairs, kids. So first off, we have the original ability that's still going to be there, right? Rebel allies have 25 speed, 10% tenacity, and in addition, whenever any ally uses an ability that is not attacked, they call a rebel to assist, right? The key is any, so it's a kind of catch-all lead that helps rebels as well. Once you put the Omicron on, he becomes really a rebel-specific leader. This lead still exists on top of this, right? For those of you who don't believe me, where's my little tab? Okay, that's how Hera works in Territory Wars, right? We don't stop having this bonus, we just get this landed on top. So unless they hate Admiral Akbar and they love Hera, you get both pieces of these. So let's talk about while he's in Grand Arena. At the start of battle, everybody gains tenacity up for 2 turns. That's really nice. Not getting stunned immediately is a good feeling. If all allies are rebel, whenever an ally's buff expires, they gain 3% turn meter. Depending on how expires means works, I'm not entirely sure, right? If they just mean when it runs out, not a big fan. If they mean whenever it gets dispelled or used up, maybe by one Ahsoka Tano, then this is a way cooler ability, and I understand why it's only at 3%. In addition, if all allies are rebel, whenever an ally uses an ability that is not an attack, recover all allies' health by 5%. We're going to hard stop here and talk about this, because the health is... it's really bad. It's them like kind of throwing us a bone, but probably being too afraid to put protection on this, because then it'd be really, really good. Right? The amount of... if you think about effective health of a character nowadays, sometimes it's half of their effective health is protection, sometimes more than half, like 2/3 is protection. So in order for your character to start actually gaining benefit off this health recovery, you have to be so low that you're already in one-shot range anyway for some characters, and that's a terrifying thought. Moving on, call the other 2 weakest allies to assist and reduce their cooldowns by 2. This is big, because I think weakest means in the terms of Bosk weakest, not Chewbacca weakness, right? When you look at the weakest ally actively is what I think it means, right? So when Bosk looks at the weakest ally currently, the lowest amount of health and protection total, and then attacks that one for his thing, whereas Chewbacca looks at it only at the beginning of the game. So we can't make, like, let's say Ahsoka and Ezra, who are in my lineup, we can't make them really skinny and then have a ton of offense and make it so that they assist every time. Not how it's going to work, right? But I do think these 2 weakest assists are going to be on top of the other assists over here. So in theory, we should be getting 3 assists every time a non-attack happens. But only 2 of those assists are going to get their cooldowns reduced, because I think the cooldown reduction is only going to be a part of these 2 assists, just because of the way it reads, you know. With that in mind, we can move back over to the team composition and break down how I think this is like one of the best lineups, right? I'm not entirely sure about Stormtrooper Han. I like him because he gets a ton of turn meter, and that seems like kind of what we're missing with the Akbar lead, but he'll feed it over to us, so I'm not entirely sure. We like Chirrut because of the heal over times is really kind of it. The Dispel is nice. It's our attack that makes, or our ability that makes everyone attack. It's alright, I guess. But he's really here for that passive to hopefully eke out a ton of turn meter because people are healing over time a ton. Ezra, I think, is overlooked. Really good. Going to be huge in this team, right? He's our huge damage dealer. Flourish does way too much. If he assists, he has a chance to assist twice because of his passive on his basic. And his watch and learn ability, when he calls an ally to assist, is not an attack. He assists them after he calls them to attack. So he will force the Akbar lead, meaning we get 3 assists from Akbar, 1 from Ezra, and 1 from the ally he calls. That's 5 attacks. We look at real Mon Mothma in this, but like without the 80% damage reduction or whatever it is. I think Ahsoka is obvious in everyone's boathouse. It's kind of also part of why we have Chirrut here, right? Is so we can meditate on kids, which is our way of forcing everybody to assist, and then we can whirlwind on them. I think that is the huge play that's coming out here, right? And then the tank slot is the only slot that's like questionable. I kind of want to put Baze here. One, because mine is geared, and it just makes sense. But Han also makes sense, and I don't know which one it should be. I don't know if we really need the turn meter from Han that much. I think it might be better to have the auto taunt capabilities of Baze, personally. But I also, man, I really like the way Han sounds. I really like the turn meter he gains. I can't think of any other Rebel tanks that I'd want. Like, Old Ben is okay. People, I don't know. I'm not on the Old Ben hype train like other people are. It's cool because he has 2 abilities that calls people to assist. That part's cool, I guess, but everything else, ugh, I can't really get behind it. So I think it's this or the Chirrut Baze lineup for sure. But I'm not going to be applying my Omicrons. We just broke down the whole team. I have this all set up in my head. I've been thinking about it for a while, and I'm not gonna do it. I'm not pulling the trigger. And you're like, why? Why not? Just do it. Go for it. It sounds great on paper. And it does, but I don't have to. There's a bunch of people who are a part of the community who are willing to take the dive for me. The real homies and OGs out there. We're going to wait until they put out the YouTube videos and show me how good and or bad Akbar lead is. I hope it works because in theory the Omicron transforms a ton of characters that I think are worthless in my roster currently into a amazing team. In theory. I'd love for it to work. But if it doesn't work, there's no point in me wasting my Omicron, because it would be a waste. I'd much rather have the Qui-Gon Jinn team, right? Even though I don't have enough Jedi to really fuel it currently, I would much rather farm them up to gear 10 or 11 and then slam the Omicron on him, and it just works. Instead of having this half-working Omicron comparatively. And that's kind of what I'm here to urge you on. I don't think Akbar's bad yet. I think as soon as we see how he works, I'll be investing in him if he does, for sure. If he works at least somewhat the way I think he does, right? If we call 3 allies to assist, he's probably going to be sick. And if the turn meter gain is 3% because we're gaining so many buffs, then I'm definitely in there, right? I'll hard invest. But if it doesn't work out like that, if I don't gain turn meter, if I don't get turn meter for whirlwinding with Ahsoka Tano, it's gonna be a tough sell for me. It's gonna be real bad. I think that's one of the big ones that I need to really like comfortably make the investment. But don't fret. You can just save your Omicrons, right? I think Heinze said it best when realistically most people should have 3 Omicrons in the tank at all times. Because they're going to release some super nut-busted character with Omicrons, and you're just not going to have them to be able to gear them. And it does sound really end-gamey, but also, on the flip side, right, being able to see a character that you like, obtain it, and gear it immediately is a fantastic feeling, right? An Omicron gets put on, one of the characters of Star Wars past, and you're like, man, I wish I could gear it now. Having these resources in the tank is huge, right? We are still a resource management game along with a collector game. So don't be afraid to hold them if you don't like what's coming out, right? If the Admiral Akbar videos drop in a week or 2 and you go, man, that just doesn't look quite good enough for me to spend this new material on, don't do it. Don't do it. They will come out with something that catches your eye. Something that really pulls you in, right? Someone dash Rendar like for your whatever your prepared squad is in your life, okay? I'm sure of it. But yeah, other than that, prospects for Akbar, he could be cool. I'm not entirely sure. I really don't know. There's a lot of technicalities and stuff that I can't quite figure out on my own. So we're gonna be waiting for a video. I don't hate him yet. And that's final thoughts. Let me know what you guys think. I'll see you sometime in the future. Not entirely sure. Just kind of like pop out and make a video. I am working on something I don't know when it will drop. Editing is hard. It's really hard, and I hate myself every time I do it. Later.